This episode of the Golf Gambling Podcast and the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost. Edge Boost enables you to double your bet with no interest. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to get started today. All right, D-Gens, welcome to the Golf Gambling Podcast. Did anything important happen today that kind of melted the golf world? I don't know. I mean, I'm not on Twitter, so I might have just missed everything. So it's me, Steve Schirmer. Just me for right now, but I teased a very special guest coming back to our show tonight, and let me bring him back in here right now. It is the return of Boston Capper.
What's up, brother? How are you?
I am glad you're not dead, sir. Thank you very much for still breathing.
Me too. I'm very happy. My family's happy for the most part. But yeah, man, it feels good. I was fucking terrifying. Took, I guess, a little over a week off at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I texted you that I'd come back this week. I was like, I'll do the betting show. Timing worked out.
It did. And when I asked you to do the DFS show, you're like, you know what? I don't really feel like breaking down the
yeah, it's fine. Matt can take that one.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, thank you to Matt Gannon for filling in when he did, but it is nice to have my co-pilot back in the seat here. And yeah, that was that was a very scary text you sent me on that Friday. Not almost as surprising as the text I got from my dad saying that LIV Golf has just merged with the PGA Tour, and I thought it was just an April Fool's joke at that point.
Right?
Because I saw on Discord. I saw on Discord some random account I never even heard of. Like, listen, I'm not in tune with all the accounts on Twitter, but I'm like, this sounds like a fake account. But then I saw CNBC reporting it, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is legit.
Which is wild in and of itself that CNBC is breaking that news, which tells you that somebody was leaking it. And because that's not how they would normally want to break that news, not on fucking CNBC. That was definitely the PIF wanting to.
Well, I mean, Jay Monahan also has kind of a fetish for going on CNBC. Remember, he went on as the pandemic was shutting the world down because he wanted to tout the media rights there. So I think just Jay loves to go on CNBC and give them the exclusive interview. It is kind of funny though that they were the only ones who seemed like they had it, and they had everything planned too because they did a pre-taped interview with, and we'll get to that bizarre shit show on my TV screen at 10 in the morning that I never thought I'd see. But yeah, I mean, I guess kudos to CNBC, the leaders in golf breaking news.
Like Monahan. And man, I know he comes from Bank of America, so he's still like a finance nerd, and that's why he loves to go on CNBC. But what's funny is it's like I don't understand why he's proud of this deal. Like, and some of the comments that he's made after, like I don't know if you've seen it, but like when they blow back on him about him basically leveraging the families in 9/11 and being a gigantic piece of shit for leveraging those people and those emotions to shame the people who went to live, and then now he's perfectly fine. Same with what's his name? Who's the other guy who's like the golf mover and shaker? What's his name? Who's the chairman now? Jeff
Jimmy
Burke or whatever his name.
Jimmy Burke. Yes, it's Jimmy Burke.
Yeah, from Goodfellas. Yeah.
No, it's
like another scumbag.
Yeah.
Like just scumbags. They leverage these people's emotions, huge events that obviously tug at the heartstrings of people who were involved. And then he goes, I was dealing with the information that I had at the time. Oh, I'm sorry. Did 9/11 not happen now? Do they not murder a writer? And look, you know me, I don't really I don't care. Like, it is what it is. My stance was it's always been about the money. This fucking higher, holier than thou bullshit. Oh, it's about the Masters and it's about the history and it's about the sanctity of golf. No, it's not. It's about the money, like it always is. And scumbags like Monahan will ruin, will go over people, throw people under the bus, step on people, do whatever they have to get to make sure that they get theirs. And it's just more corporate America fucking greed. And it's the same in sports. And they basically just let Saudi Arabia buy the PGA Golf Tour. I don't give a fuck who's the CEO. I don't give a shit how many board members have what. I know we're going to get into this and you can break it down numbers wise, but we both know if the PIF is the sole investor and they can refuse capital, the number one shareholder gets the number one vote, period, end of story. And that board will do what they say, or they will figure out a way to get those people out.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to unpack with this deal. I think there was a lot of really bad reporting on some of the stuff that was going on. There's a lot that we don't really know about either that we're going to talk about. So we're going to get to Jay Monahan. We are going to get to what this deal is, what this deal isn't, things that it could be going forward, unanswered questions, winners and losers. I think that's going to be our favorite segment of the night, because then we can just kind of pile on and trash people for really bad takes, or just you came out on top. So why don't we take our first break, and then I will start kind of breaking it down to you like you're a golden retriever or a young child.
Love it. All right. Well, listen, this episode is supported by Edge Boost. Edge Boost is the world's first bet now, pay later Visa card. Edge currently offers up to $2,500 in betting advances, which can be extremely valuable tool. Imagine what you can do with an increased bankroll. You get down some of your favorite futures without tying up your bankroll for months, which I hate. Double down on your favorite bet you like, or even use it to create an awesome middle or even hedge, which is we don't support hedging here. Edge Boost isn't some sleazy loan shark named Vinny, as they charge you zero interest. Do you know a way you can access more money to place on your favorite bets without paying any interest? Edge Boost can be a part of your responsible gambling plan as you set up your daily, weekly, and monthly limits across all your betting accounts in one place. So support SGPN and grow your bankroll by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to sign up. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge. You must be 21 or older to use. Problem gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, let me break it down to you like a young kid, to everything that happened.
Oh, by the way, you see this? Water.
Yes, I was actually going to ask you. There's
water.
probably some lifestyle changes that will be made on your end, as far as alcohol
no.
consumption and heaters and.
No more heaters.
Thank God. Can I actually? I'm going to give a standing ovation right now.
No more heaters.
No, who smokes cigarettes nowadays?
No one.
Seriously.
I know.
Only people in Virginia. They smoke cigarettes. Everybody smokes cigarettes in Virginia, but no. I always knew that you loved your cigarettes, but when you came up here and we were about to go out on that Friday night, and you said, "Hey, can we stop somewhere for cigarettes before we go out?" And I'm like, "Well, how many do you got left?" And you say 12. I'm like, "Is that not enough for the night?" It's like, "No, it's not enough for the night." So, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for you to quit smoking, but.
Yeah, I've done all right. I snuck a few. That's about it. Like just some randos that I had around the house, but
Okay.
And I haven't had a drink since then either, so that'll ease back in. I thought the giving up drinking was going to be harder than the smoking, but it's really smoking just because it's like so ingrained in my routine for like 25 years.
Oh yeah, the smoking is definitely going to be worse than giving up the drinking for sure.
Yeah. But and then I guess, you saw me. It's not like I'm in shape, but it's not like fucking obese, right? So the dietary changes aren't that bad. Just cut back on the animal fats and don't be an asshole. Basically, stop drinking trash bags full of gin and smoking 2 packs a day is basically what they told me.
There you go. All right, so let's go over this press release that shocked the world. So I guess what were you did I break the news to you this morning about it, or how'd you find out?
So Pete. I don't know if it was you or Pete. It was like back to back. He texted me something like LIV. Hold on, I'll pull it up. And I didn't understand what the fuck he was talking about. He said PGA 10:03 PGA merging with LIV as reported by with the show he listens to. Yeah. And I was like, what? And I was like, and then I think you actually might have been first. Let's see. We have too many texts. We didn't go all the way back in the morning.
Well, so my dad broke the news.
It was the same thing. I pulled up CNBC immediately.
Yes. Exactly. So I thought my dad sent me a text. I'm like, what? How is he scooping me on this? And then I saw on Discord somebody posted a random account that looked fake, and then CNBC broke all the news there. So yeah, I guess it is a where were you at moment when the golf world decided to just explode.
Yeah. So you literally you texted me the same exact time, 10:03, as he did. So you guys both texted me at the same time.
I'm guessing that wasn't unique to a lot of people in the golf gambling industry, that people just immediately start blowing up people's phones like, what the hell is going on?
Is I always have CNBC up in the background, but for whatever reason, like my kid was playing Fortnite last night, and I didn't feel like fucking switching the inputs and all that shit. So I just left the TV off this morning.
Okay. There you go. All right. So let's get this press release. So the major highlights, and I'll try and dumb it down for everybody as far as exactly what it means. So the PGA Tour, the DP World Tour, and the PIF, which is the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia, essentially just this $650 billion money pit that they just throw money at to buy things like Premier League teams and invest in F1 and buy professional wrestling organizations, all that stuff. And they're essentially taking all their assets and their golf businesses, their rights, all that stuff, and throwing it all into essentially one pot. And they're going to create a new for-profit entity with all the tours, including LIV, PGA Tour, Euro Tour, Asian Tour, the MENA Tour, probably a couple other ones too that I can't even think of, all under one umbrella. So I heard today that people were trying to call this not a merger. No, this is a merger.
Right.
This is a classic horizontal merger
Yep.
where two companies in the same industry that sell essentially the same product, they consolidate their business assets and they form a new company. That is exactly what this is. No, the PGA Tour is not splitting up into two parts. This is a new company that essentially is the parent company of all the other entities down below, which includes the PGA Tour and LIV and everything else. Yeah, for now. But as of right now, because there's a lot of details still to hammer out, which we'll get to in a little bit. That's how it is right now. Another significant development is that the PIF will make capital investments into a new for-profit facility with the goal of all leagues to work with the PIF to promote and grow team golf going forward.
Game, baby.
Well, so here's one question. What exactly does that mean for team golf? Like,
it doesn't exist now. So if they put what, one event on, technically it grows it.
Yes. But there's also rumors about what the actual capital investment is going to be with the PIF. So sources speculate that it's $3 billion. And basically it's going to be the difference of what the valuation comes back with the LIV assets and $3 billion. And then they'll make up the difference. Now, I'm just going to guess based on my experience as a CPA. I think the valuation of the LIV assets is very tiny. Usually how you value,
but they're going to be able to, but they're going to be able to find some private equity firm who's going to be able to spruce up the numbers, cook the books, and make it look fine.
Well, I mean, I think they're both going to have their own valuation teams go through it. And I think a problem for LIV is when you do a valuation, you're looking at discounted cash flows. Essentially, where's your revenue coming from?
Right.
And they don't have any.
Future.
Yeah. Future. Yeah. So that would be disputed. So
I mean, look at some of these stocks that are trading at fucking at 300% earning per shares because their earnings aren't there because the revenue is going to be there in the future. That's going to be their argument.
Right. So I would expect the PIF to just give this organization a lot of liquidity going forward and not just assets. It will be liquidity because I don't think the LIV part is going to be a big part of that. Now, it is going to be minority equity stake. Now, how big of a minority equity stake it is?
49%.
Well, that's the thing. Technically, a minority stake is 49.5% or less than 50%. Actually, you can have a minority stake in a company and not have 50%, just be the biggest gorilla in the room.
Correct.
It doesn't sound like that's the case here because there is only the PIF, the PGA Tour, and the DP World Tour, which is probably going to contribute peanuts as well. Looking at the PGA Tour's Form 990, they have $4.5 billion in assets, $3.3 billion in liabilities, so $1.2 billion net worth. But if you take all their expected cash flows and discount that, it's worth probably more than $3 billion. So from an equity standpoint, the PGA Tour is definitely bringing more into this company. Now, does that mean that they're actually going to have a say in everything that goes on? We'll talk about that. Another point of this, and this is very important, all litigation comes to an end. Done. That is in the best interest of, I think, everybody involved. We'll talk about that a little bit as far as why this whole deal happened. There's a lot of implications with the litigation part of it. Also, all leagues, including the DP World Tour, will offer a quote-unquote fair path back to secure
with fines too.
All that stuff to secure membership in the DP World Tour and the PGA Tour. I can only imagine it probably like a group of 5 guys probably just have everybody sit down in a chair in an empty gym and they kind of just interview everybody and they kind of pick and choose at that point, which also can open up to lawsuits at that point. But maybe they haven't really thought that out. There's also there's the board of directors of the new entity will oversee and direct all the entity's golf operations, businesses, and investments. And the PIF, as we just mentioned, is the exclusive investor of the new entity. And this is really important, as you pointed out. They have the first right of refusal of any capital that might be invested in the new entity. So why don't you talk about exactly why that's important?
Because if they are the main investor, right, even if they're only holding, let's just say they hold 35%. right? Let's say 35%. Well, if company XYZ wants to come in and they want to purchase a 15% equity stake, then that's going to diminish their share and control over said entity. So if they don't want to lose control of the board, of the power, or like you said, being the biggest gorilla in the room with how much weight they can throw around as far as pushing the board around and, basically just lording the money they hold over these people's heads, then they're going to refuse it because they don't need it. First of all, they're never going to need another investor. It's the fucking, this thing prints fucking money. What is it? What was it? It's like 72 million a day or something ridiculous. I can't even remember what it is. I think it's even worse. It's even crazier than that.
Yeah.
Like how much money these people generate. It's fucking nuts. It's literally, you can't stop the cash flow. Like they will never need another investor. These will be the 3 investors. They're going to figure out a way to push, my guess is DP out of the way at some point.
I don't know about that.
Really start. You don't think so?
No, I think we'll talk about how this thing's going to be organized. I think DP World Tour can still have a place as far as its importance in all of this. But I think you just nailed it right there. Not only does the PIF have infinite amounts of funds that they can just drill a hole in the ground and get a couple more $1 billion out of it. If they don't completely screw the pooch of this thing, which they might, this thing is just as an enterprise is going to print cash.
Yep.
It's going to be highly profitable. I think if they really structure it very well, this thing can be just a monster,
Juggernaut.
An absolute monster for everybody involved. So yeah, they're not going to need, Google or another person to come in and give them money because
they are the money.
But that is a very important caveat because ultimately they really control where the money kind of comes from and money talks. So I think this is actually the funniest subplot of them all. PIF becomes a premier corporate sponsor of the PGA Tour, the DP World Tour events. Yeah. That's funny.
It is funny.
That is funny. That is going to make those Jim Nantz midterm interviews with some Saudi prince really, really awkwardly funny.
It's going to be great.
It is. Yeah, I just thinking about how much, and we'll talk about the people to the moral high ground, but how much they push back against the Saudis trying to buy golf. And we're going to have an event sponsored by the PIF, like the PIF Byron Nelson probably next year because AT&T's gone and they lost that other sponsorship contract too.
Yep.
So the PGA Tour remains a 501c6 entity under this whole umbrella, which is a very common business structure with a for-profit parent company with a nonprofit component. Very similar there. But
the NFL was a 501c3 up until 2 or 3 years ago, right?
Yeah, I think so. So, but the PIF governor, Yasser Al-Rumayyan, which was on your TV screen today, he joins the policy board, which essentially has a say in how tournaments are operated. So there's that influence.
But watch out for those beer sales.
Yes. And then the board of directors of the NewCo. This is a conversation we might get to a little later as far as when we talk about Jay Monahan and his role in all this. So Yasser Al-Rumayyan is the chairman of the board. And Monahan, though, is the CEO of all golf operations at that point. So Monahan gets a giant promotion from commissioner to basically the golf czar in charge of all operations. However, Yasser still technically is above him in the food chain. And we'll talk about
the chairman.
Means. Exactly. There's also the executive committee, which is Yasser Monahan, the guy named Ed Hurley, and Jimmy Dunn. That's the guy. Who apparently tried to blackball some people, but really he was trying to negotiate a way of how to get his hands in that pot.
But it's seriously just the greed and the absolute just bullshit from Monahan and guys like Jimmy Dunn and the clutching of the pearls and they would never take this money. And the thing that really pisses me off is the leveraging of the 9/11 families and using them as a fucking prop.
I know.
And then less than a year later, you're literally pissing in their face. Just absolute fucking scum. Just scumbags. Absolute scumbags.
They are.
Monahan is a piece of shit. I hope he chokes on something and dies tonight.
All right. Well, we're going to Monahan. Let's take another quick break. Let's get to some reactions about why this happened. And then we'll start getting into the good stuff like dishing on Jay Monahan and speculation, hot takes, and all that stuff.
Let's go. All right. Well, listen, we're brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Best Ball Mania 4 is here. And all you degenerates, Underdog Fantasy is giving away $15 million in prizes, plus plenty of ways to win with NBA, NHL, and the MLB with their player prop parlays. Head over to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code SGPN.
Okay.
Mush is fired up, man. Fucking
he is.
He's not happy with Monahan either. He's a piece of shit Boston guy too. Like, and he worked for fucking Bank of America. Like, all types of strikes against this guy.
I mean, why don't we just get to Jay Monahan then? And we'll go to why this happened after that. Let's just get right into Monahan.
Yeah.
I mean, look, like, I don't think there's any way else to paint this. The dude is a snake. With how many people,
duplicitous.
How many people he just threw just under the bus with this thing, not consulting the players, doing this with cloak and dagger in the dark, and all really just for his, I'm just going to say it, his personal gain at this point. And look, like, I mean, I think ultimately when this thing comes out the other side, I think this is going to be good for golf. Everything's kind of consolidated. I think they can do really good things for us. But man, like, of all the people in the PGA Tour realm, like, he's the biggest winner by far.
Oh, yeah.
And he really just kind of put a shiv, I think, to the PGA Tour players and of this.
Did you watch Game of Thrones?
I've read the books. I did.
Okay.
I didn't watch the TV show though.
So Monahan's like Littlefinger if Littlefinger won.
Well, actually, I think
if Littlefinger won,
I think Monahan is a dumber version of Littlefinger. I think he's fallen.
Yeah, that's fair.
A lot in his life.
Oh, of course he has. Yeah, of course he has.
I have a different take on Monahan with this. I think he just takes the first idea he listens to and people knows he can whisper in his ear and get him to do whatever they want. I mean, for God's sakes, like, the whole structure of the 2023 PGA Tour season came from a hotel room in Delaware with the players. And then 2 days later, all of a sudden, oh yeah, this is what we're going to go with. Like that. They were throwing shit at the wall. They didn't really know what to do. And then the players had to actually decide for Monahan at this point. So, I mean, how this probably all played out, and I guess I can get to kind of like, I can roll this into the why this happened. Look, these guys are going to be embroiled in a lawsuit for years over this thing. And, you know, I mean, for the PIF side, they knew that LIV was not going to work. I think they reported today that, you know, the team aspect of it, they were not getting corporate sponsors. They couldn't sell the franchise. It just wasn't working on that end. But they can continue to bankroll this thing and just be a thorn inside the PGA Tour and just roil this in lawsuits for years and years and years. So I think they actually just kind of pulled a Saul Goodman at this point and said, look, I can just sue the shit out of you and just tie this up in lawsuits. Or why don't you just give me what I really want? I just want to see at the table. I want a little piece of pie. You're going to get paid off a lot for this deal. It works out beneficially for both of us. Let's just end all these lawsuits right now. You don't want to go through discovery because probably a lot of nasty things are going to come out of discovery for the PGA Tour. I don't want to go through discovery because I got the U.S. antitrust litigation probably going to come out. And there's probably some stuff that we're going to leak to the media and everything like that. That's why the PIF wanted to do it. And then if you're Jay Monahan, I think he probably just heard the idea and like, okay, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you seem like a pretty powerful, smart guy. Why don't I just trust what you're doing right now? And listen, I'm just a giant paste eater who collects $5 to $10 million a year. I'll probably make $50 million out of this. I can buy a lot more paste and eat a lot more paste out of that. So yeah, I'm just gonna listen to you. And you know, I don't really want to talk to Rory McIlroy. Let's just get this done. That's I think how this all played out. Is just
I mean,
money thing, and Monahan just sounds like it was a good idea, and that was it.
Guys. Sounds like those 4 or 5 guys. That was it. Monahan, that dude, what's the Jimmy Dunn, who sounds like probably 6 kids I grew up with. And yeah, I mean, probably like a couple other guys from the PIF side, or one other guy from the PIF side, somebody from the DP World Tour. I wonder if or maybe they just got called at the end. Hey, guess what? You're lumped in with this.
Yeah, I don't think Keith Pelly had a show. We'll talk about Keith Pelly later too. I want to talk about that guy. But I mean, like, I just. And let's also go back to like this point too. Like, who's actually running the ship with this thing? So there's the chairman versus the CEO. And for people who don't really know, the difference is the CEO is essentially the boss of all day-to-day operations. He is the boss of everything that goes on essentially in headquarters. The chairman is the head of the board of directors who essentially guide the company to and, develop some sort of business strategy and mission to maximize the wealth of all the shareholders. And basically, they have an influence to try and tell the CEO of what they should be doing. And then they give the CEO some, progress reports and evaluations. And if they don't feel like the CEO is fulfilling the mission of the board, they can remove him.
Vote of no confidence. Goodbye.
Exactly. So while Jay Monahan is technically, I guess, a boss of everyday operations, considering and we just kind of talked about this, considering he took what the players said last year at the hotel and just said, yeah, it's a great idea. We'll just do that. Has not seemed like he's had an original idea in all of this. Let this happen, by the way, when he could have accepted this deal 4 years ago without a Saudi money. That's a huge cluster at that point. Let the golf world divide itself, had to dip into his own coffers to basically boost, prize pools, let a bunch of players go over to LIV. You really think that he's going to be in charge of the ship and be able to tell MBS and the PIF and all those guys what he really wants and actually throw his weight around? No. The PIF effectively runs professional golf now, even if on paper the PGA Tour has majority rights and voting rights, which all that really means is just they have the power to declare dividends and add directors and all that stuff. At the end of the day, the PIF is running the ship, and Monahan is just kind of its little puppet. There's no real other way to spin this at this point.
No, there isn't. I mean, that's exactly what it is. So, I mean, they can try to spin it however they want. Like, they're already like PGA radio, like, was already like, I had to turn it off. I listened to like 10 minutes of it. I was like, okay, gotta go. Like, already carrying Monahan's water. Like, I don't care what other people say. I think Monahan's done a great job since COVID. I was like, oh, what? What are you talking about? Like, on what fucking planet is this guy a good CEO? Like, unbelievable. And like you said, like, this deal could have been done 4 years ago. He didn't want to deal with the public backlash. Oh, well, now guess what? Now you've literally fucking took the backlash, threw a can of gasoline on it, and lit it on fire. Like, I mean, you just made it 10 times worse for yourself, you fucking schmuck.
Right.
Like,
I mean, it's just the whole thing is just a giant cluster. And I mean, I remember starting talking about this PGL stuff when it first came into existence. And I'm like, this doesn't sound like too bad of an idea. And then he ended up, making a mess of that and going on TV and saying some things that he probably should not have said that now people are using against him and calling him a hypocrite, like what came out at the players meeting today.
From Jeff, yeah. The great
exactly.
Question by Feinberg.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, the guy,
he is a hypocrite, and it's insane. And he even said, yeah, I am a hypocrite. Like, I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't make it better. Like, I don't know, man. He's just like, I think you said it in a text. Great. I mean, he's just like Goodell. Like, whatever. He's there to take the fucking bullets. Like, it's a air quote player run organization, but it's really not. Like, he can do what he wants. Like, he can do what he wants with it. And it's not really a players run organization. They have no say.
No,
and like be a part of the association or not.
Yeah, and there's people who are like, oh, well, he's not going to survive this. And everything. What are you talking about? Like, he just delivered the PGA Tour a ton of money. Of course he's going to stay. It doesn't matter how big of a buffoon he is and how much he steps on his dick with some of his, statements. Yeah, everybody's going to get richer out of this. Yep. He's not going anywhere. So the players can call for leadership change and all this stuff. Doesn't matter at this point. The horse is out of the barn. He's staying because he delivered the goods to this guy. So I don't know. So, all right.
I fucking hate that guy.
I know. I mean, I really did appreciate, and Golf Channel, to their credit, did a good job. They played his comments from last year's Canadian Open a lot today, and they resoundingly hammered him. And I kudos to them. I think the PGA Tour actually has a investment stake in Golf Channel. So the fact that they did not pull punches it's a good thing.
We'll see.
So, all right. Do you have any other comments about Jay Monahan or this deal before we start getting to stuff we don't really know about that they don't really know about either?
I guess we didn't talk about Norman. He's the big loser, right?
Well, we'll get to winners and losers.
Okay.
All right. So I guess unanswered questions. So what does this new entity golf structure look like? I guess and you kind of alluded to it earlier, like where do all these leagues kind of fit in? So where do you think where do you think things are going to shake out here?
I mean, I would imagine that LIV will be gone by next by next season, and everything's just going to be like the PGA, but maybe they'll take, I don't know, I guess the team aspect. It's not taking the 54 holes or the shotgun stat. They're not taking any of that shit from LIV. So maybe, I don't know, Fall Swing will be like team type events, or DP World, like trying to get these guys like an elevated Corn Ferry Tour almost. I really don't know. Like I don't see how LIV survives, because like you said, listen, when this is going to be a new for-profit company, and PGA is going to be an offshoot or subsidiary, and so is LIV. When they go through and they look to cut and they look at what's profitable and not profitable for a business, LIV is completely unprofitable. They're going to cut it, and they'll fold these guys back into the PGA.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, that's all I can.
Yeah, I sent you a structure. Like, I think what ideally I would like is I would like the PGA Tour to essentially be the premier league of golf, with a top tier league, 70 guys, relegation, promotion. That's your global premier tour.
Right.
And then below that, you make LIV, or whatever you want to call it, just the US PGA Tour subdivision, essentially, where that is a feeder system into the premier league, quote unquote, with relegation and promotion. They're playing on any of the off weeks that the quote unquote PGA Tour Premier League is not playing. And then you also have the DP World Tour, which I think serves as another feeder system over the international markets. And then they can incorporate the Asian Tour, Challenge Tour, the MENA Tour. Those are those systems to kind of feed up to that. And then we got the Corn Ferry Tour, Latin American Tour, PGA Canada. Those all feed into old LIV.
Right.
I think that's probably, ideally what I would like to see.
But so with your idea of relegation, it can't be the whole fucking season, 70 guys. It's got to be like quarterly or something. Like, we can't go through an entire golf season.
No, I mean, the Premier League does. If you got 20 teams, you're in the Premier League, you earned your right there, you play your matches, and then the worst 3 teams go down no matter what. Top 3 teams from the bottom league go up. So maybe there's a churn of like 10, 15 20? Guys.
Okay.
That go back and forth at the end of everything. Yeah, I think if you make it to that top league, you deserve to be there all year. And then just if you don't cut it, you're down. Doesn't matter who it is. I mean, like we just saw Leicester City, who won the Premier League 8 years ago. They got relegated. So, maybe like, Justin Thomas like situation, and he doesn't cut it. He goes back down. Now, I mean, there's definitely things like injuries. How does that play a factor? But I mean, that's just kind of SOL at that point. So it's not perfect, but I think the DP World Tour, to answer your questions, I think it still is an important part. I just think I think everybody just needs to just admit now that it is a feeder system. Yeah. That's all. I mean, it already was, because even before this, the top 10 guys who weren't exempt on their point standings were going to get PGA Tour cards. It already was a feeder system at that point.
That's true.
It is. So, I mean, I think LIV is, we know it probably. Maybe they, if they don't figure out what to do with everything else, maybe they just run next year and then they kick the can down the road. But I think this team format is probably dead at this point. I don't see them getting rolled into the PGA Tour would all of a sudden drive any commercial interest in it or much. I think they'll do an evaluation, and that's it.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, and they'll probably just take whatever assets are left from it, which might be just David Faraday at this point. So, how about the question of, are professional golfers independent contractors anymore after this?
Yeah, I would still assume they are, right?
I don't know. I mean, this is essentially just one giant golf corporation at this point.
Yeah, but that's a matter of whether they're going to be technically considered employees or not, right? And that goes into some tax law that I'm not familiar with. So,
that's what
I want to be able to speak intelligently on.
Well, that's what the for-profit entities now for, is like they can actually kind of make these guys.
But they still hire contractors. They can still hire them as contractors.
They could hire them as contractors, but like I think they use this for-profit entity now to kind of pay these guys guaranteed salaries if they really want to.
Yeah, that's true.
So that was something they couldn't do with the 506C, and then I mean they still keep the charity portion with that, but I think the for-profit entity kind of solves that problem. Yeah, I mean I think as a trade-off to listen, all these guys are going to benefit huge with financially for all this stuff. I think the trade-off is, listen, like you're probably going to stay on this one event or one tour
for a year,
and we're going to pay you X amount, but you got to play these events. And if you don't, you're getting relegated.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they're losing a lot of their freedom, but we'll see. It depends on what the structure is. Here's the question I had in the Discord. So does the FedEx Cup playoffs this year matter at all?
Have they ever? How about a better question? Have they ever mattered?
Well, because this year they were gonna go to only
Go to
top
70,
70,
right?
but then the guys 70 up have to go play the fall series. But if we're starting to incorporate the LIV guys back in all this stuff, like
it's true.
How is that going to work?
Who knows?
Like, are we just going to have like 180 guys with full exemptions at this point? Like,
God, what a night! What a nightmare!
That would
we'll
be
have tournaments that last 7 fucking days. 7-day tournaments now.
Yeah, and it seems. I mean, like the PGA Tour, this wouldn't be the first time that they announced something and then just completely gassed it. Like, remember last year, the original idea was they were going to have like a 3 or 4 team event series in like Japan and Australia.
Yeah. I forgot.
Everybody's kind of like, I don't know about that.
Right.
That just went completely away. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just kind of said screw it and come up with a half-ass plan.
Let's get some more match play. How about that? More match play.
That's how. This is another one. Has the WC match play finally found a permanent home at King Abdullah Economic City?
Yeah, why not? Fuck it. Let's go.
Fine. Let's do it. I think it's a terrible match play course, but you know what? If you want to, if that's the
scratches
price
my itch, man.
Yeah, if that's the price of $3 billion to give basically Saudis the control of the WGC match play brand, so we can actually keep it on the schedule, fine.
Yeah, fine.
Whatever, go play.
I like those. I like the bracket shows. I like all that shit, man. That's my favorite.
There you go. Yeah, you can have it in Riyadh, and they can actually have that orb there, and they can actually reveal the names in the orb of who's in the bracket.
Nice.
Here's some legal question. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a CPA. But won't this trigger a giant antitrust lawsuit with the DOJ?
I would assume so because the DOJ was already looking into the PGA for antitrust.
Yeah, like doesn't this make this just a bigger monopoly at this point and a bigger barrier to entry? And then a follow-up question: can't Andy Gardner of the PGL just sue the fuck out of these guys? Like literally, he cannot. He has no pathway to try and create a league at this point.
No, but you got to think like so. It's the same problem that the PGA ran into going against the PIF. The PIF's going to outlast you with money, and they can tie that shit up in courts forever. How much money's Homeboy got? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like
I'm just saying, like as far as I think he's got one hell of an antitrust case at this point.
Well, sure, but I thought you're talking about suing, right? So like,
I think he could sue these guys, and I think he would have a good lawsuit at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. But the antitrust shit to me is so strange because there's so many clear monopolies out there and they still get through. Like, why would this be any different?
That's true. Listen, there are antitrust lawyers out there probably talking about this. I'm just speculating at this point.
Yeah.
What happens to Tiger and Rory's little indoor golf venture?
I don't know. I guess it stays on track, right? I mean, it's kind of completely separate, right?
Does it? Is this really necessary at this point? Like, wasn't the PGA Tour kind of involved in that? And that was supposed to be kind of supplemental revenues for all these guys.
Man, this is Tiger. If Tiger wants it, Tiger's going to keep it. But I thought it was hilarious that, did you see the previews that Colin Morikawa is going against the world's best putters? I was like, why? Why? He's going to get eliminated the first round.
Well, unless it's at a Jack Nicklaus course or Augusta National or anything with Nature Championship at Greece. So
yeah, even then I don't think so. But yeah, that's interesting. I think if Tiger still wants it, then they're going to keep it because they got to make Tiger happy now after he turned down $1 billion to fucking stay loyal to scumbag Monahan.
We'll get to some of those losers. And then the last on the question, I already asked you this, but the most important one: will Cam Smith get his parking spot back?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I hope he fucking pulled in there today, beeping the horn, fucking waving his ass out the window. That's what I hope.
God, he is a giant winner in all this. And why don't we transition to winners and losers? So I'll give out a winner and I'll have you talk about it. So I think the biggest winner of them all, and we've already kind of mentioned this, is Saudi Arabia and the PIF.
Yeah.
They got, I think they played just masterful chess.
Yes.
In all of this. They took Greg Norman as they said, you're going to be our puppet and we want to get into golf and we don't really their whole point of creating LIV was not really to create a rival league to take down the PGA Tour. They have said all along they've just wanted to partner with the PGA Tour. Greg Norman said it. They said it. And they got exactly what they wanted with essentially, I'm stealing this joke because I saw it, the Michael Scott Paper Company of the golf.
I was all over Twitter today.
I mean, I thought that was a pretty.
Can I make you a confession? I stopped watching The Office after like the first 2 seasons. I was like, I'm good.
Oh man.
And now it's like past the point. Like it's been so long. I'm like, I'm not going to go back.
All right, fine. All right. Well, regardless, I mean, they took essentially a failed enterprise and coerced the PJ Monahan, who probably just could have waited them out and let them fail and then maybe partner with them. That would have been a little better. They essentially said, look, like, why don't we just partner together right now and we'll save face. And they got exactly what they wanted.
We'll throw Norman to the side because Norman was so had a hard on for fucking Monahan and the PGA. Like he couldn't see himself getting used like that.
All right. Well, then why don't we talk? Well, because I actually have a different take on this. Okay. So I think Greg Norman's job security is a loser.
Well, yeah, he's gone, right?
He's definitely gone. I mean, he found out that this was happening apparently
before the
same with everybody
CNBC.
else.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think Greg Norman's ego is a winner, and he has a giant ego. This is exactly what he wanted to create all along, going all the way back to the 90s. He tried to create this world tour. The PGA Tour ended up stealing his idea of creating the WGCs. Gets it started, and listen, he's out of a job, but he probably made a lot of money out of this. And he has the satisfaction as a egotistical douchebag to say, you know what? He's probably going to say, I did this.
Look what I did. Yeah,
I did.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so his ego is a big winner. Obviously, another big winner. Jay Monahan's bank account is job security. He's not going anywhere, guys.
Nope.
He's not leaving. Big winners, the LIV golfers.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. So I didn't pay attention to it. Like that shit was all up front, wasn't it?
So I think it was actually a 3-year contract. Okay, so it was spread out, and then they had, I think, certain terms they had to like they had to go to different tournaments. Like that's why a lot of those guys played the Oman Open this year.
Yeah.
Like that stuff. But I mean, look, they got all their money up front, and I mean, look, like maybe the guys like Hudson Swafford probably aren't coming back to the PGA Tour, but they still got $10 million.
Yeah, exactly.
But your guys like Taylor Gooch and Bryson
Cam
and Brooks
Smith.
and Cam Smith and DJ, they all got 9 figures.
Yep.
And they're going to walk right back to the PGA Tour and get more money from that tour than what they started with. They won. They won that.
Yeah, they did. There's no other way around it.
Keith Pelly, probably a worse commissioner than Jay Monahan.
Okay.
He's a giant winner in all this.
Yeah.
That was they were going to be irrelevant. They already were irrelevant. And he is just riding the coattails of everybody and essentially saved his organization because now they still have a place and they get a boatload of cash. They solve all their financial issues. And I think a lot of his mismanagement that he's done over the last 3 or 4 years is
now erased.
What's that?
Is now erased.
Yes.
Like everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
I did like what he was doing last year, though, as far as like, I guess that was kind of out of necessity as well. But like getting like the Scottish Open and like things like that, getting some premier players over there finally, like it seemed like he was trending in the right direction. But I guess that was a fucking necessity because of LIV too. And I don't know if he would have done it if it wasn't for that.
Yeah. I mean, it turned into, with the DP World Tour, only 3 or 4 events mattered. It was the 2 events in Dubai and Abu Dhabi at the beginning of the year, the Scottish Open, maybe the Irish Open and French Open, the Alfred Dunhill, the BMW, and then the ending.
Dunhill's always cool.
Yeah, so like 6 events mattered. Otherwise, though, there were 17 Kazoo Classics. I couldn't keep them straight. And they were going to really bad golf courses and weird locations, and all those top players, they weren't going over anymore. Listen, giant winner for him. Politics aside, Donald Trump, big winner.
Oh, I know. He called that shit.
Yeah. Listen, you make 500 proclamations a day. Eventually you get one right, but man, he nailed that. Man, he nailed it.
Oh, right on the head. Yep.
It's pretty much verbatim. So scoreboard, Donald Trump on that one. The fans, we win. I think this.
Hopefully, we'll see.
I think this is gonna be a good thing. I think everybody's
Hope
back.
so.
I think as long as they don't really screw the pooch with all this stuff,
They can still screw the pooch. It's still Jay Monahan.
well, they can. That's true. That's true. But I think fans are winners. I think gamblers are winners. We finally are going to have good odds.
Yeah, maybe. Or now is there just going to be like fucking more guys under 20-1 because the books are like, fuck them. They're going to bet it anyway. I'm a criminal.
That's
I'm a
true.
criminal.
I mean, after COVID, we were expecting all the prices from the supermarkets to go down because they just kept it the same.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah. They're like, still a supply chain. We're like, oh shit, I see more trucks on the road now than I ever saw. Fuck your supply chain.
All right, great. So 75 guys under 30-1. That's awesome.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
in theory, gamblers should benefit with better outright odds. And then the last winner here, I think us, the Golf Gaming Podcast.
Okay.
I can't recall a time where we took a really hard stance either way. I think we called it straight. Yeah. We did not take the moral high ground with any of this stuff. No. We called out the PGA Tour for what it was. We also called out the LIV Tour for being kind of a not entertaining product.
No, garbage.
That was not generating revenue, but we never made all these grand sweeping moral statements about any of this stuff and had that thrown in our face. And I think we called it correct, sir. So good job.
We did. Because we knew it's just all about money. Like it always is. Like, don't believe whatever people are fucking telling you. They're all full of shit. It's all about the bottom line in business, period. End of story. I don't care. Just like whatever. I'm just gonna stop there. Let's stop.
Okay. Let's stop. All right. Let's get some losers.
All right.
Now don't spike your blood pressure when talking about this man.
I won't.
Rory McIlroy.
Roy's big loser. Big loser.
I've been doing a lot of talking. Talk about Rory. Why is he a big loser?
I mean, I almost fucking feel bad for him. I almost do. Like I almost do. The way Monahan used that dude as a puppet to basically take the bullets, be the mouthpiece, stress him out over a year, have him take these stands, have him be the face of everything. I mean, he really fucked his year up. Like if you really think about it, like he fucked Rory's year up. I almost wonder if now Rory's just gonna go like scorched earth or he's gonna be broken. I don't know which way it's gonna go. I think it's going to go one of two ways. He's already kind of broken, so we'll see. But, yeah, I feel bad for him. He's definitely a loser in this. He's been spouting off forever. But what's funny is a bunch of people on Twitter showed it. Like, you see how he started softening on the stance about 3 weeks ago. They swear that he didn't know until today, but all of a sudden he wanted to stop talking about LIV. And people are like, oh, he's probably just done talking about it because he's stressed out about it. But I wonder if he fucking knew. Because Monahan said this was going said this was going on for 7 weeks.
Yeah, but it seemed like
I bet you.
It seemed like they really want to keep the players out of it, though.
I bet you Rory knew. I'm telling you, like, you go back, he started softening the stance, didn't want to talk about LIV, did the practice round with Brooksy. Like, I don't know. Listen, I'm a good conspiracy theory guy. So, listen, if he didn't know, then it's even worse. Like, Christ, I feel even worse for him. He found out this morning.
Yeah.
I guess he got into it with, who's that redneck scumbag? Grayson
Murray.
Grace Murray. They got into it, I guess, at the meeting today.
Oh, no, really?
I guess Murray was like, Murray was bitching about something, and Roy was like, fucking play better.
Good. That actually, because I don't want to offend Kevin Na, but Kevin Na also said that to Grayson Murray, and that's
fuck Kevin Na.
Yeah,
Kevin Na's a prick too.
Fuck Grayson Murray too.
Fuck Grayson Murray as well.
Yes,
he was the one fucking around with underage girls, wasn't he?
Allegedly. So, but I mean, look, just in general, the PGA Tour players who turned down a lot of money from the Saudis, and
you don't think they're gonna get? I bet you they're gonna get comped on the back end.
I mean,
not as much.
I think they will
soften the blow a little bit.
I mean, they will, but not as much. And I mean, look, these LIV guys coming back, they're gonna have to pay fines. It's probably going to be peanuts compared to what they actually made.
God, what is it? And do you think these guys are actually going to stroke a check? Absolutely fine.
I don't know.
No chance.
Maybe
no
not.
Chance.
So
just like Rory's fine is going to be like some money removed from his PIP of money that he doesn't have yet. Like, fuck off. They're not going to stroke a check.
Yeah.
I think they're going to take care of on the back end. I don't think they'll get obviously as much as they would have got going to LIV.
No, I mean, going forward, they're going to make a hell of a lot more money out of all this stuff, but they also look pretty bad in hindsight, just given some of their comments.
I don't think they look bad. I think Monahan made them look bad because these guys. So here's my other bullshit about corporate America. Anytime a fucking company starts to call you like family and like we're a family here, Oh, are we a family? No, we're not, motherfucker. I'm an employee, and you're trying to dissuade me and shame me from taking more money to go somewhere else. Why? Because it's your best interest to keep me here so you can keep making money off of me or my skill set. Like, like if they make him look bad because they manipulated these guys to think they were doing the right thing, shamed him into not taking the bag, and then just to be the duplicitous snake that he is, and just go to make this fucking deal to fatten his off. Like, if I had as much money as these guys had, I would absolutely have Monahan killed. I would have him fucking murdered. And there was no way they'd be able to tie it to me. I would have this motherfucker killed. I'd be fucking furious. And there would be no stopping me.
I mean, given the characters Monahan is going to have meetings with now.
It's true.
You know.
Lots of holes in the desert.
Yeah, there are. There are. There's a lot of holes in an oil well, too.
That's true.
I mean, look. Biggest loser. I mean, Jay Monahan PR firm. It took probably a big hit today. They're probably all hands on deck. Taking a lot of barrel fire in that front. Stealth loser. The USGA. They're trying to do this rollback of the ball. No, I don't think they're going to make much headway now with this with Global Golf Inc. at this point. I think they're going to say, you know what? I think we're good with our own ball. You guys can do what you do.
Yeah.
So
have fun doing that one tournament a year.
Yeah.
What was the company from talked about Globo Gym?
Yeah, Globo Gym.
Globo Golf.
Yeah, so Global Golf.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Global Golf. All right. Good.
That's it. That's how everybody's gonna be coming to the tee box now. Yeah.
That's right. Love it.
So actually I forgot a winner. The International Presidents Cup team. Giant winners.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Cam Smith, Joaquin Neiman, Mito Pereira, all those guys come back now.
Can we just run it back again this year? Can we just do it again? Can we get a do-over?
Well, maybe. I mean, last year it's up in Montreal, so maybe we get all those guys coming back, and
let's go.
Maybe we could go. I mean, it's what, 6 hours from here? We could.
I like Montreal.
I haven't been. I went in like middle school, but
I went when I was, because you could drink when you're 18 up there, and so we drove up from Boston, ran on like 2 or 3 random weekends.
Yeah, we used to go to Niagara Falls and do that. So, all right. And then lastly, the biggest losers. I mean, just anyone. We kind of already alluded to. Anyone took a moral high ground defending the PGA Tour. You just
everybody. That includes Twitter takes, fucking people in golf media, all you morons who took the cheese, took the bait, and decided to fight for people who don't give a fuck about you or your family or anybody else's other than their own, and to line their own pocket. Let this be a lesson to you. Cynics are typically correct. Stop looking at the world through rose-colored sunglasses.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just got a dose of reality in that if someone just dangles a large pot of cash, you can really change your opinion quick. And this was all about money at the end of the day and preserving not legacy of golf, not history. It was about preserving your business. And as soon as Jay Monahan saw an opportunity to say, look, I can get an infinite amount of cash out of this. He just abandoned all that stuff. So I'm sorry about any of that stuff. I mean,
I'm not. We should be smarter than that.
I mean, we have friends who have had takes.
That's fine. That's fine. But I don't know how many of our friends have like taken the moral high ground aspect of it. Maybe one, but I think they got like kind of just ramped themselves up about it. Like, I don't view them as a holier than thou.
Yeah.
But anywho,
that's true. That is true. So, all right, I got nothing else. You got any other closing thoughts on this stuff?
Oh, what a shit show. I can't wait to see what else comes out this week. Holy crap, dude. The mics at LECC, everybody back. I can't wait for Phil to be in front of a mic. I want to talk about somebody who was a victory lapping last week. We should have known something was coming because you're not on Twitter. He was fucking in random people DMs telling everybody who would listen shit was about to pop off and shit was coming to light. Like, oh yeah. He's been victory lapping hard.
Yeah. I mean, is Hideki going to join the High Flyers? He's, after all this, or
because he's flying the Spirit. Oh, did you even see that? Yeah, so you saw that.
I saw that article. So yes, that's pretty sad.
Whatever.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to do quick Canadian Open picks? Because we're not going to spend an hour on
because we almost an hour. Yeah. I only have 3 outrights and they're cowardly. I took Hatton at 14. I took Tommy at 20, and I think that's just because I want him to win for Feinberg. He's having such a fucking good week. So that's one thing you're missing off of fucking Twitter, man. He's been there all day, every day. Got a picture with Tommy. He did a live stream outside. He was the one, when you saw that he was the one who asked that question about if anybody called Monahan why am I blanking on
a hypocrite.
A hypocrite. And so like he did a live stream for everybody for that. Like we're all listening in spaces, and like he's been doing videos, talking to people. It's been Feinberg's been key, and like how it's not going to play as low as we think it's going to go. All the caddies think it's going to be like 15 and now 15, 16. Like it's not going to be like over 20. And so yeah, pretty interesting stuff. And then I took Cole because I needed a bomb, and I don't know, he seems to be the guy that I'm wasting money on a lot lately, and he can get hot with the putter. If we're gonna wedge and putt, give me Cole. Like fuck yeah, I like Cole. I like Cole at a wedge and putt fest.
Okay. So I took my video that I did. I kind of figured if I want guys who I think can pull driver a lot and a lot of short approach shots, Sam Burns is really good at those types of tournaments. Makes a lot of birdies. Pretty good from under 150. That's a natural match. And then you know what? How about Cam Young? He can do a lot of the similar things too. Really good from under 150. Even though he's got the bulky putter, he's still top 5 in birdie rates this year. Really good wedge player too.
Eagle too. All of these things you're going to be able to get to in two.
Exactly. I think. I mean, like you look at Detroit Golf Club last summer. I think there's a lot of similarities to that place to this place. You can pull driver a lot, short up the golf course, and he got to 21 under. So, yeah. Well, all right. Well, those are my 2 picks. So,
okay.
All right. You got anything else?
I just got I got 2. I got some top 20s. I'll put out the card, but I just have so you can get Rory miscut. He's to win the tournament, he's 6-1. To miss the cut, it's plus 550. Maybe the stress and all the bullshit going on. I don't know. I was actually wondering if we're gonna see like just a string of fucking like angry withdrawals. Like fuck this Monahan, I'm not playing your game.
That would have been wild.
That would have been fucking awesome. Like like that's the shit I want. And then Connor's to miss the cut at 3-1. He's been playing like shit. Seems to put a lot of pressure on himself at RBC. I think he did well last year though, but I don't care. And then Rory 7th or worse. So basically not to top 6 minus 110.
That's an interesting.
Yeah.
There. All right. Okay.
That's so too. I was like, all right, not the top 6 minus 110. I'll take that.
I can see that. I can see that if I mean his wedges were pretty bad at Memorial last week. So
trash.
Very trash. Yeah.
Trash.
Yeah. That take of yours was reheated.
Yes, it was
over the weekend. So, all right, I'll put up my full betting card. I got positionals and stuff like that. So, but yeah, we've gone long enough. Capper, it was great to have you back. Welcome back to the show,
yes, sir.
We got a big week next week with the U.S. Open content. I think I'm going to put out another one of my hole by hole videos on Saturday.
Yes. You're definitely doing that, right?
Yes, I'm probably doing that. I'll
definitely doing that.
Yes, I have to review the tape from the Walker Cup this week.
All right.
And then we'll go through all that stuff on Saturday and then full clip of shows next week.
Yep. That's it. Back to your regularly scheduled programming. Got the stint in now, so should be good to go. New capper, a little more healthy. Gonna try to drop some LBs too. So yeah, appreciate being alive and you guys listening to me and Steve bullshit about golf. And I'm glad to be back, man. But yeah, fucking Canadian Open, wild week, insane day of golf news. Can't wait to see what's gonna happen tomorrow. But yeah, I'll have my card out too, and Steve will have his FOMO bet out tomorrow night, and I'll have my first.
I'm doing a different video now.
Oh, yeah. What are you doing now?
No, it's now I basically pretend that I clear my betting card.
Oh, that's right. You clear the board and pick somebody new.
And I'm like, all right, this is what I would bet if you hadn't bet. And
because you had Rory last week, right?
Yeah. Well, I agreed with 2 weeks before that. I did bet it. And then I said I probably would still pick Hovland, and I probably would be tempted to have Rory in the car, which would have worked out pretty good.
Amen. All right.
Yeah.
On a heater with that. Let's go. So make sure to tune into that. And listen, I dodged the massive heart attack and I'm still here. So I've got to hit a first round leader, right? That's how these things work, right? I believe so.
Yeah.
All right. Let's break them books, motherfuckers. We'll talk to you next week.